The last transmission from Kepler 9-2b. A sci-fi story. Part 1. Dr. Charlotte Ling had grown used to the silence. It was not the silence of empty rooms or abandoned corridors, nor the soft, padded quiet of a recording booth. It was the silence of space, an omnidirectional, absolute stillness that pressed against the hull of the Solace like a patient hand. After 14 months in orbit around Kepler 9-2b, she no longer noticed the absence of sound so much as the presence of her own thoughts, which had grown louder, sharper, and increasingly difficult to separate from the hum of the station's life support systems. She floated in the observation module, tethered loosely to a handrail, watching the planet turn beneath her. Kepler 9-2b was a deep, oceanic blue, streaked with silver cloud bands that moved in slow, deliberate spirals. It was beautiful in the way a sleeping leviathan might be beautiful, vast, unknowable, and faintly threatening. Her mission was simple: observe, record, and transmit. Earth wanted data, spectral readings, atmospheric composition, magnetic field fluctuations. Nothing dramatic, nothing heroic, just the quiet accumulation of knowledge. She had been alone for 412 days. The first transmission came on day 413. Charlotte was in the comms bay, running a routine diagnostic on the long-range antenna array. The system had been glitching for weeks. Minor packet loss, intermittent static, nothing mission-critical. She was halfway through recalibrating the signal filters when the console chimed. Incoming transmission, origin, Earth. Her breath caught. Scheduled contact wasn't due for another 6 days. She opened the channel. A man's voice, strained, breathless, and unmistakably terrified, filled the cabin. Charlotte, if you're receiving this, do not attempt to return. Earth is gone. She froze. The voice continued, cracking with static. A cosmic event, unknown origin, hit us without warning. It's like the sky folded in on itself. Cities are gone. Communications are collapsing. We don't know how long we have. Charlotte's pulse hammered in her ears. You're the last one off-world with a functioning relay. Stay where you are. Do not come back. There is nothing to come back to. The transmission ended abruptly, as if cut by a blade. Charlotte stared at the console, waiting for the rest, for the explanation, the reassurance, the correction. But the channel remained dead. She replayed the message 3 times. The voice was familiar, but she couldn't place it. Someone from Mission Control? A technician? A scientist? The panic in his tone made it hard to identify. Her training kicked in. She ran a full diagnostic on the comm system. No anomalies. No spoofing signatures. No evidence of interference. The message was authentic. Or at least it had passed every test she knew how to run. She drifted back to the observation module, unable to sit still. Earth gone? The idea was absurd. Impossible. Catastrophic cosmic events didn't simply appear without warning. There would have been signs, alerts, emergency protocols. She pressed her forehead against the viewport. Kepler 9-2b turned slowly beneath her, indifferent. For the first time since arriving, Charlotte felt truly, profoundly alone. Day 414. She didn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard the man's voice again. Raw, desperate, final. Earth is gone. She spent the day combing through the station's data archives, searching for any hint of an anomaly in the last transmissions she'd received from home. Nothing. Routine updates, weather reports, a birthday message from her sister. All perfectly normal. She tried sending a reply. Solace to Earth. Received unscheduled transmission. Request clarification. Status of mission control? Status of Earth? Please confirm. No response. Hours passed. She checked the antenna alignment again. Perfect. She checked the power grid. Stable. She checked the onboard clocks. Synchronized. Silence. She drifted through the station like a ghost, touching handrails, panels, screens. Anything to anchor herself. The Solace felt smaller than it had the day before. The air felt thinner. She found herself talking aloud. just to hear a human voice. Day 415. The second transmission arrived while she was sleeping. The console chimed softly, almost apologetically. Incoming transmission, origin, Earth. Charlotte scrambled to the comms bay, heart pounding. She opened the channel. A woman's voice, calm, measured, professional, filled the cabin. Dr. Ling, this is Mission Control. Please disregard any previous transmissions you may have received. There has been no catastrophic event on Earth. We believe you may have intercepted a corrupted or unauthorized signal. Charlotte's stomach twisted. Your mission remains active. Continue standard operations. We will conduct a full review of the long-range communication array to prevent further interference. A pause. Please confirm receipt. The transmission ended. Charlotte stared at the console, her hands trembling. 2 messages. 2 realities. One of them had to be false. Unless, she pushed the thought away. She replayed the second message. The woman's voice was steady, almost too steady. There was no background noise, no chatter, no ambient hum of a busy control room. Just her voice, isolated and pristine. She checked the metadata. The signal path was clean. The encryption matched Earth's standard protocols. But so had the first message. She tried sending another reply. Solace to Earth. Received conflicting transmissions. Request verification of Earth status. Please confirm authentic message. No response. Again. The silence felt heavier this time, as if it were waiting for her to make a mistake. Day 416. Charlotte woke to the sound of her own voice. At first she thought she was dreaming. The voice was faint, muffled, drifting through the ventilation ducts like a memory. She floated out of her sleeping pod, listening. There it was again. Her voice. But she wasn't speaking. She followed the sound to the observation module. The planet below glowed faintly in the darkness, its cloud bands illuminated by the distant star. The voice grew clearer. Day 419. I can't tell what's real anymore. The messages keep changing. The planet is speaking to me, or I'm losing my mind. Charlotte's blood ran cold. The voice was hers. Same cadence, same tone, same slight rasp from months of recycled air. But she had never said those words. She checked the comms panel. No incoming transmissions. No internal audio logs playing. Nothing. The voice continued, drifting up from the planet like a rising tide. I think it knows I'm listening. I think it's learning. Charlotte backed away from the viewport, her breath shallow. The planet was silent again. Day 417. She avoided the observation module. She spent the morning running system checks, trying to bury herself in routine. Oxygen levels, normal. Water recycler, stable. Radiation shielding, nominal. Everything was fine. Everything was functioning exactly as it should. Except her. She kept hearing echoes, soft, half-formed whispers that faded when she turned her head. Sometimes they sounded like her. Sometimes they didn't. She recorded a log entry, forcing her voice to remain steady. Mission Day 417. I've received 2 conflicting transmissions from Earth. One claims total destruction. The other claims everything is normal. I have no way to verify either. She hesitated. Additionally, I've begun hearing what sounds like my own voice coming from the planet. I can't explain it. There is no known mechanism for atmospheric audio transmission across vacuum. This should be impossible. She stopped the recording. Her reflection stared back at her from the console screen. Pale, hollow-eyed, hair floating around her like a dark halo. She barely recognized herself. Day 418. The third transmission arrived at 3:12 station time. Charlotte was awake. She hadn't slept. The console chimed. Incoming transmission. Origin. Earth. Her hands shook as she opened the channel. A voice, hoarse, exhausted, and unmistakably human, spoke. Her voice. Charlotte, listen to me. I don't know how much time I have. The other messages, they're not real. None of them are real. Earth can't reach you anymore. It's been gone for months. Charlotte's breath caught in her throat. The thing you're orbiting, it's not a planet. It's not what we thought. It's aware. It's communicating. It's using your voice because it knows you'll listen. Static crackled. Do not answer it. Do not acknowledge it. Do not let it inside your head. The transmission ended. Charlotte stared at the console, numb. Her own voice, warning her. She replayed the message. The voice was identical. Perfectly identical. Not just similar. Hers. But she had never recorded such a message. She had never sent anything to herself. She checked the metadata. The signal had originated from Earth. Or at least from the direction of Earth. She felt the walls of the station closing in. Day 419. She heard the voice again. Her voice, coming from the planet. This time it was clearer, louder, as if the planet were speaking directly into her mind. Day 419. I can't tell what's real anymore. She pressed her hands over her ears, but the voice didn't stop. The messages keep changing. The planet is speaking to me, or I'm losing my mind. She backed away from the viewport, shaking. I think it knows I'm listening. I think it's learning. The voice paused. Then softly, I think it's becoming me. Charlotte stumbled out of the module, slamming the hatch shut behind her. She floated in the corridor, trembling uncontrollably. The station felt wrong. Too quiet, too still, as if it were holding its breath. She tried to focus. She needed to think. She needed to act. She needed. A chime echoed through the corridor. Incoming transmission. Origin. Unknown. Charlotte's heart stopped. Unknown. Not Earth. Not the station. Something else. She forced herself toward the comms bay, every instinct screaming at her to run the other way. The console flickered. The message began to play automatically. A voice filled the cabin. Her voice, but older, tired, fractured. Charlotte, if you're hearing this, it's already too late. She gripped the edge of the console, knuckles white. It doesn't matter which message you believe. They're all true, and none of them are. It's showing you possibilities, futures, echoes. It's trying to see which one you'll choose. Static surged. Don't let it decide for you. The transmission cut out. Charlotte stared at the console, her mind unraveling. Possibilities, futures, echoes. The planet below turned slowly, patiently. Waiting. Day 420. Charlotte didn't record a log entry. She didn't run system checks. She didn't eat. She floated in the central hub, staring at nothing, listening to the faint hum of the station. Her thoughts felt fragmented, like shards of glass drifting in zero gravity. She wasn't sure how long she'd been there when she heard it. A whisper. Soft. Familiar. Charlotte. She turned. No one. Charlotte. Look. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. She drifted toward the observation module before she realized she was moving. The hatch slid open. The planet filled the viewport. Vast, luminous, impossibly calm. The voice spoke again. Her voice. Come closer. Charlotte pressed her hand against the glass. The planet pulsed faintly, as if responding to her touch. I can show you the truth. Her breath fogged the glass. All you have to do is listen. Day 421. She woke on the floor of the observation module, disoriented. Her head throbbed. Her mouth was dry. Her limbs felt heavy. She didn't remember falling asleep. She didn't remember entering the module. She didn't remember anything after touching the glass. The planet turned beneath her, serene. She pushed herself upright, gripping the handrail. Something was wrong. The station felt different, as if the air pressure had shifted, as if the gravity, what little there was, had tilted slightly. She checked the environmental controls. Everything was normal. She checked the station clock. It was off by 3 hours. She checked the comms log. A new message had arrived. Incoming transmission. Origin. Earth. Her stomach twisted. She opened the channel. A voice calm, warm, familiar, spoke. Her sister. Charlotte? Hey, we got your message. Everything's fine here. I don't know what you heard, but Earth is okay. We're okay. You're okay. Just breathe. Okay? We're going to get you home. Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. Her sister's voice, laughing softly, comforting, real. We love you. Just hold on a little longer. The transmission ended. Charlotte covered her mouth with her hand, shaking. She replayed the message. Her sister's voice was perfect. Too perfect. No background noise. No delay. No imperfections. A simulation. A lure. She felt something inside her break. Day 422. Charlotte recorded a log entry. Her voice was flat, emotionless. Mission Day 422. I can no longer determine which transmissions are real. The planet is mimicking human voices with increasing accuracy. It has used my voice, my sister's voice, and at least 2 voices from mission control. She paused. It may be reading my memories, or predicting them, or creating them. I don't know. She swallowed hard. I am no longer certain that my thoughts are my own. She ended the recording. The silence that followed felt alive. Day 423. The planet spoke again. Not in whispers, not in echoes. In a clear, resonant voice that filled the entire station. Her voice. Charlotte. It's time. She floated toward the viewport, unable to resist. The planet glowed softly, its cloud bands shifting in patterns she had never seen before. Intricate, spiraling shapes that seemed almost deliberate. You've seen the messages. You know the truth. All truths. Charlotte pressed her hand against the glass. There is no Earth to return to. There is no mission to complete. There is only what comes next. The planet pulsed. Let me show you. Charlotte closed her eyes and listened. Part 2. Charlotte drifted through the station as if moving underwater. Every motion felt delayed, softened, as though the air itself had thickened. She wasn't sure if it was exhaustion, stress, or something else. Something external, something watching her from the blue world below. She avoided the observation module. She avoided the comms bay. She avoided her own reflection. Instead, she floated in the central hub, clutching a tablet she wasn't reading, listening to the faint hum of the station systems. The sound had always been comforting, steady, predictable, mechanical. Now it felt like breathing, not hers, something else's. She closed her eyes. The planet pulsed behind her eyelids. The first anomaly. It began with a flicker, a soft, stuttering blink of the overhead lights, barely noticeable. Charlotte frowned and checked the power grid. Everything was normal. No surges, no drops, no faults. Then it happened again. A flicker longer this time. She floated to the nearest panel and ran a diagnostic. The station systems responded sluggishly, as if waking from a deep sleep. Come on, she muttered, tapping the screen. The lights flickered a third time. Then the gravity shifted. Not much, just a subtle tilt, a gentle pull toward the observation module. Charlotte grabbed a handrail, heart pounding. The station didn't have artificial gravity, only microgravity from rotation. It should have been constant, but the pull grew stronger, as if something were drawing her in. She forced herself down the opposite corridor, hand over hand, fighting the invisible current. The air felt thicker again, resisting her movements. She reached the engineering bay and sealed the hatch behind her. The pull vanished instantly. Charlotte floated in the sudden stillness, chest heaving. The station was changing. Or she was. She wasn't sure which terrified her more. The second anomaly. The voices returned. Not whispers this time. Not echoes. Full sentences, spoken in her own voice, drifting through the ventilation ducts like a conversation she wasn't part of. Day 425. I stopped sleeping. I don't trust what I see when I close my eyes. Charlotte pressed her hands over her ears. The voice continued, unbothered. Day 426. The planet is trying to communicate. I think it's using electromagnetic resonance to mimic neural patterns. She shook her head violently. No, she whispered. No, I didn't say that. But the voice kept going. Day 427. I'm starting to understand it. Charlotte slammed her fist against the wall. Stop. Silence. She floated there, trembling, waiting for the voice to return. It didn't, but the silence felt worse. The third transmission. She lasted 6 hours before returning to the comms bay. She told herself she needed to check for updates, needed to verify the station's connection to Earth, needed to confirm whether the last message from her sister or the thing pretending to be her sister had been real. But deep down, she knew the truth. She was looking for a voice that wasn't hers. The console chimed the moment she entered. Incoming transmission. Origin. Earth. Her breath caught. She opened the channel. A man's voice, calm, steady, familiar, filled the cabin. Dr. Ling, this is Commander Rourke. We've reviewed your logs. We believe you're experiencing acute sensory distortion due to prolonged isolation. Charlotte's stomach twisted. Rourke, her mission commander, a man she trusted. Your reports of auditory hallucinations are consistent with known symptoms. We're preparing a retrieval mission. Hold position. Help is coming. Charlotte closed her eyes. Help. The word felt unreal. She replayed the message. Rourke's voice was perfect. His tone, his cadence, his clipped, military precision. But something was wrong. He had said we, as if Earth were still there, as if people were still alive, as if the first message, the one filled with terror and finality, had never existed. She checked the metadata. The signal path was clean, too clean. She turned off the console. She didn't trust it anymore. The planet watches. Charlotte returned to the observation module despite every instinct screaming at her not to. The hatch slid open. The planet filled the viewport, vast, luminous, impossibly calm. Its cloud bands spiraled in intricate patterns, shifting slowly, deliberately. She pressed her hand against the glass. The planet pulsed faintly. Why? She whispered. What do you want? Her breath fogged the viewport. The fog spread, not outward from her breath, but inward, from the glass itself, as if something on the other side were exhaling. Charlotte jerked back. The fog formed shapes, letters, words. Listen. Her heart hammered. The fog shifted again. Understand. She shook her head. No. No, I won't. The fog pulsed. Become. Charlotte stumbled backward, slamming into the opposite wall. The fog dissipated instantly. The planet turned beneath her, serene, waiting. The memory that wasn't hers. She fled the observation module and sealed the hatch behind her. Her hands shook uncontrollably. She needed to think, needed to ground herself, needed something real. She opened her personal log. A video entry she didn't remember recording stared back at her. Timestamp. Day 421. She tapped play. Her own face appeared on the screen. Pale, hollow-eyed, hair floating weightlessly. I've made contact. Charlotte's blood ran cold. The video Charlotte continued. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in possibilities. It shows me futures, versions of myself, versions of Earth. It wants me to choose. Charlotte shook her head violently. No, I didn't record this. I didn't. The video Charlotte leaned closer to the camera. You won't remember this. It doesn't want you to. But you need to understand, the messages aren't lies. They're options. Charlotte's breath caught. And the planet is waiting for your decision. The video ended. Charlotte stared at the screen, numb. Her own face, her own voice, her own words, but she had no memory of saying them. She deleted the entry. It reappeared instantly. She deleted it again. It reappeared. She screamed and hurled the tablet across the room. It hit the wall and bounced, drifting weightlessly. The video kept playing. The station responds. The lights flickered again. The gravity shifted again. But this time, the pull wasn't toward the observation module. It was toward the airlock. Charlotte grabbed a handrail, fighting the invisible current. "No," she whispered. "No, I'm not going out there." The pull intensified. The air felt thicker, pressing against her skin. She forced herself into the engineering bay and sealed the hatch. The pull vanished instantly. She floated in the sudden stillness, chest heaving. The station wasn't malfunctioning. It was guiding her, directing her. She didn't know why. She didn't want to know. The fourth transmission. The console chimed. Not from the comms bay. From every speaker in the station. A voice filled the air. Her voice. But not an echo. Not a whisper. A perfect, calm, confident version of herself. "Charlotte, you're making this harder than it needs to be." She froze. The voice continued. "You've seen the messages. You've heard the possibilities. You know Earth is gone. We're saved. We're changed. All of it is true. All of it is false." Charlotte shook her head. "Stop. Stop talking." The voice ignored her. "The planet isn't your enemy. It's offering you something. A choice. A future. A purpose." Charlotte covered her ears. "Leave me alone." The voice softened. "You're not alone. Not anymore." Silence. Charlotte sank against the wall, trembling. She didn't know how much more she could take. The descent. She lasted another day. Maybe two. Time had become slippery, unreliable. The station clocks drifted. Her internal sense of time drifted. Even her memories felt unstable, shifting like sand. She found herself in the observation module again without remembering how she got there. The planet filled the viewport, pulsed softly. "Charlotte." Her voice. "It's time." She pressed her hand against the glass. The fog formed instantly. "Choose." Charlotte swallowed hard. "What choice?" The fog shifted. "Return." The image of Earth appeared, blue, vibrant, alive. Her sister's voice echoed faintly. "We're okay. You're okay." The fog shifted again. "Remain." The image of the station appeared, dark, silent, drifting. Her own voice echoed. "I can't tell what's real anymore." The fog shifted a third time. "Become." The image of the planet appeared, vast, luminous, alive. Her voice echoed again. "I think it's becoming me." Charlotte's breath caught. 3 futures. 3 possibilities. 3 versions of herself. She closed her eyes. The planet pulsed. Waiting. The decision. Charlotte opened her eyes. Her reflection stared back at her from the viewport. Pale, hollow-eyed, hair floating like a dark halo. She didn't recognize herself. She wasn't sure she ever had. She pressed both hands against the glass. The planet pulsed. "Show me," she whispered. The fog formed instantly. "Become." Charlotte exhaled and listened. Part 3. Charlotte didn't remember leaving the observation module. One moment she was staring at the fogged words on the viewport. Choose, return, remain, become. And the next she was floating in the central hub, fingers curled around a handrail as if she'd been holding on for hours. Her head felt light. Her thoughts felt distant, as though she were listening to them from another room. The station hummed softly around her. A steady, rhythmic pulse, almost like a heartbeat. She closed her eyes. The pulse synchronized with her breathing. She opened her eyes again. The hum continued. A shift in the station. The solace had always been predictable, mechanical, a machine built by human hands with human logic and human limitations. But now, as Charlotte drifted through the corridors, she felt something different. The station felt aware, not alive. She wasn't ready to think that, but aware. The lights brightened slightly as she passed. The air circulation shifted, guiding her gently down certain corridors. The hum of the systems rose and fell in patterns that felt almost intentional. She paused at an intersection. Left led to the comms bay. Right led to the observation module. Straight ahead led to the airlock. The air felt warmer to the right, cooler to the left, still ahead. She gripped the handrail, steadying herself. "Not yet," she whispered. The station hummed in response. Not agreement, not disagreement, just acknowledgement. The data that shouldn't exist. She retreated to the science lab, one of the few places that still felt neutral. The equipment was familiar. The screens were blank. The air smelled faintly of metal and disinfectant. She activated the main console. A flood of data filled the screen. Spectral readings, magnetic field fluctuations, atmospheric signatures. But none of it matched the logs she'd collected over the past 14 months. These readings were new, recent, impossible. She scrolled through the data, heart pounding. The planet's magnetic field had shifted dramatically in the past 48 hours. The atmospheric composition had changed. The cloud patterns had reorganized into geometric spirals that no natural weather system could produce. She zoomed in on the spectral data. Pattern emerged. Not random, not natural, structured. A repeating sequence of electromagnetic pulses. She recognized it instantly. It was the same pattern she'd heard in the whispers, the same cadence as her own voice. The planet wasn't just mimicking her. It was transmitting, communicating. She leaned closer to the screen. The pulses formed clusters. Clusters formed sequences. Sequences formed shapes. She froze. The shapes were letters. Her letters. Her handwriting. She reached out and touched the screen. The letters rearranged themselves instantly. Charlotte. Her breath caught. The letters shifted again. Listen. She stepped back, pulse racing. The console flickered. The letters dissolved. The screen went dark. The voice without sound. She didn't hear the voice. She felt it. A soft vibration in her bones, like the resonance of a distant engine. A gentle pressure behind her eyes. A warmth spreading through her chest. Presence. Not threatening. Not comforting. Simply there. A thought formed in her mind. Not hers. Not entirely. You are ready. Charlotte gripped the edge of the console. Ready for what? The presence pulsed. Understanding. She shook her head. No. I don't understand anything. The presence responded with a sensation. Not words, not images, but something deeper. A feeling of vastness. Depth. Time stretching in all directions. A glimpse of something enormous. Something ancient. Something patient. Charlotte staggered back, overwhelmed. The presence withdrew slightly. Not gone. Just waiting. The echo of herself. She fled the lab, drifting down the corridor with quick, uneven movements. She didn't know where she was going. She just needed space, distance, silence. But the silence was no longer silent. Her own voice echoed faintly through the station. Not from the speakers. Not from the ducts. From everywhere. Day 430. I think I'm beginning to understand the transmissions. Charlotte pressed her back against the wall. No, she whispered. Stop. The echo continued. Day 431. The planet isn't trying to deceive me. It's trying to prepare me. She shook her head violently. I didn't say that. I didn't. The echo softened. Day 432. I'm not afraid anymore. Charlotte covered her ears. The echo faded. The station hummed. The presence pulsed gently. The planet's memory. She found herself drifting toward the observation module again. She didn't fight it. The hatch slid open. The planet filled the viewport. Vast, luminous, shifting with slow, deliberate grace. The cloud spirals had grown more intricate, forming patterns that resembled neural networks, branching and reconnecting in fractal loops. Charlotte pressed her hand against the glass. The fog formed instantly. Not words this time. Images. She saw Earth. Not destroyed. Not thriving. Something else. A version of Earth she didn't recognize. Cities grown over with crystalline structures. Oceans glowing with bioluminescent patterns. The sky filled with shimmering auroras. She saw herself. Not on the station. Not on Earth. Somewhere else. Somewhere between. The images shifted. She saw the planet's surface, vast oceans, towering structures of unknown material, landscapes that defy geometry. She saw movement beneath the clouds, shapes, patterns, networks, a world thinking, a world remembering, a world waiting. The fog dissolved. Charlotte's hand trembled against the glass. "What are you?" she whispered. The presence answered. "Possibility." The station responds again. The lights dimmed. The hum deepened. The gravity shifted. Not pulling her toward the airlock this time, but gently lifting her toward the ceiling, as if the station were adjusting itself around her. She floated freely, weightless in a way she hadn't felt since her first days aboard the Solace. The presence pulsed. "You are not separate." Charlotte closed her eyes. A warmth spread through her chest. Not physical, not emotional, something else. A connection, a thread, a bridge. She opened her eyes. The planet pulsed in response. The fifth transmission. The console chimed. Not from the comms bay, from the viewport. The fog formed letters on the glass. Transmission received. Charlotte frowned. "From where?" The fog shifted. "From you." Her breath caught. "No, I didn't send anything." The fog pulsed. "You will." She stepped back. The fog dissolved. The presence pulsed gently. Not demanding, not urgent, just waiting. The choice that wasn't a choice. Charlotte drifted in the center of the observation module, suspended between the station and the planet, between the known and the impossible. She thought of Earth, her sister, her life before the mission, her life on the station, her voice, the voices that weren't hers, the messages, the echoes, the possibilities. She realized something then. The planet wasn't offering her a choice. It was showing her the choices she had already made, the paths she had already taken, the futures she had already lived, all overlapping, all converging, all leading here. She pressed her hand against the glass one final time. The fog formed instantly. "Become." Charlotte exhaled slowly. "I'm listening." The presence enveloped her. Warm, vast, infinite, and she understood. Not in words, not in images, in connection, in resonance, in possibility. The station hummed softly around her. The planet pulsed. Charlotte closed her eyes, and the presence opened. Part 4. Charlotte drifted in the center of the observation module, suspended between the familiar hum of the Solace and the vast, pulsing presence below. The connection she had opened was not a doorway, not a surrender, but a widening, an expansion of the boundaries she had once believed defined her. Her body remained weightless, anchored only by the faint pull of the station's rotation. Her mind was no longer anchored at all. She felt two layers of perception settling into place, overlapping like translucent sheets of glass. One layer was her own, the station's metallic scent, the soft vibration of the air recyclers, the cold surface of the viewport beneath her fingertips. The other layer was broader, deeper, a slow, rhythmic awareness that stretched across oceans of cloud and currents of magnetic force. A perception that was not sight, not sound, but something older and more encompassing. She inhaled. Both layers inhaled with her. The planet's perspective. The second layer sharpened. She sensed the planet's magnetic field as a shimmering lattice, shifting and folding like a living aurora. She felt the slow churn of its atmosphere, the deep, resonant hum of its core, the delicate filaments of energy that threaded through its cloud bands like neural pathways. She felt its attention, not focused on her body, focused on her awareness, a gentle pulse of recognition. "You perceive." Charlotte steadied herself against the handrail. "I think so." The presence responded not with words, but with a sensation like a nod, an acknowledgement that reverberated through both layers of her mind. Two perspectives. One mind. Charlotte swallowed. "Is this what you wanted?" A pulse. "This is what you chose." She wasn't sure that was true, but she wasn't sure it wasn't. The station reacts. The lights brightened slightly, adjusting to her breathing rhythm. The air circulation shifted, matching the cadence of her heartbeat. The station's systems hummed in a pattern that felt almost conversational. She realized, with a jolt, that she could sense the station's electrical currents through the planet's layer of perception. Tiny, intricate pathways of energy flowing through the walls, the consoles, the life support systems. The Solace was no longer just a machine. It was part of the network, part of the connection, part of her. She drifted toward the central hub, guided by a subtle pull, not physical but perceptual. The station's systems responded to her presence, adjusting their rhythms to match the dual cadence of her mind. She touched a console. The screen activated instantly, not with data, with a reflection. Her reflection. But not quite. Her face looked the same, pale, tired, eyes shadowed from sleeplessness. But there was something behind her eyes now. A depth, a shimmer, a faint echo of the planet's pulsing light. She blinked. The reflection blinked a fraction of a second later. A delay, a divergence. She pulled her hand back. The screen went dark. The first overlap. She drifted toward the comms bay, drawn by a faint vibration in the air. The console was active, though she hadn't touched it. A message was waiting. Incoming transmission. Origin. Unknown. Her pulse quickened. She opened the channel. A voice filled the cabin. Her voice, but layered. Two tones speaking in perfect unison. One human, one resonant. Like an echo carried through deep water. Charlotte Ling. You are receiving this message from yourself. She gripped the console. What does that mean? The dual voice continued. You exist in two states, two perspectives, two timelines. The connection has synchronized them. Charlotte shook her head. No, that's not possible. The voice softened. It is not possible for one perspective. It is inevitable for two. She felt the planet pulse beneath her. The station hummed in response. Her two layers of perception aligned for a moment, perfectly, seamlessly, and she saw the transmission not as sound, but as a pattern of electromagnetic resonance, a structure of meaning woven through the planet's magnetic field. She understood it, not intellectually, instinctively. The message was not coming from outside. It was coming from the overlap, from the place where her two perspectives met, from the version of herself that existed in both. She closed the channel. The console dimmed. The second overlap. She floated back toward the observation module, drawn by a sensation she couldn't name. The hatch slid open before she touched it. The planet filled the viewport. Its cloud bands had shifted again, forming spirals that mirrored the neural patterns she had glimpsed in the spectral data. The patterns pulsed softly, in time with her breathing. She pressed her hand against the glass. The fog formed instantly. Not words, not images. A map of connections, threads of light stretching between the planet, the station, and a point far beyond the star. She recognized the point, Earth, but not the Earth she remembered. Not the Earth from the transmissions. Possibility, aversion, a resonance. Her two layers of perception aligned again, and she saw the map not as a diagram, but as a living network, branches of potential futures, each pulsing with its own rhythm. She felt the presence speak. You perceive the network. Charlotte nodded slowly. I think I do. You perceive yourself within it. She hesitated. I see versions of myself. A pulse. All true. All possible. All connected. She swallowed. Why show me this? The presence responded with a sensation like a deep, resonant chord. Because you are part of it now. The echo of Earth. The console behind her chimed. She turned. A new message had arrived. Incoming transmission. Origin. Earth. Her breath caught. She opened the channel. A voice spoke. Her sister's voice. But this time it wasn't perfect. There was background noise. Wind. Distant voices. The hum of machinery. The imperfections made it feel real in a way the earlier message hadn't. Charlotte? If you can hear this, we're okay. We're rebuilding. We don't know what happened to the first message, or the second, or the third, but we're here. We're alive. Charlotte's heart twisted. Her sister continued, "If you're still out there, come home, please." The transmission ended. Charlotte stared at the console, trembling. Her two layers of perception drifted apart, misaligned. The human layer surged with emotion, relief, longing, confusion. The planetary layer remained calm, steady, observing. She felt the presence pulse gently. Possibility. Charlotte shook her head. No, that was real. That was her. Possibility. Her voice cracked. Are you saying she might not be alive? She is alive. In one version. In many. In none. Charlotte pressed her hands to her temples. Stop, please. The presence softened. You perceive more than one truth. This is the cost. The third overlap. She drifted away from the console, her thoughts fracturing and reforming in patterns she couldn't control. The two layers of perception flickered, aligning, misaligning, overlapping in bursts of clarity and confusion. She felt the station's systems adjusting to her shifting awareness, their rhythms changing to match the dual cadence of her mind. She felt the planet's presence steadying her, anchoring her to the broader network. She felt herself splitting, not breaking, not losing, but expanding. Two perspectives, one mind. She closed her eyes, the layers aligned, and she saw, not with her eyes, with both perspectives at once. She saw the station as a node in a vast network of possibilities. She saw Earth as a branching point, its fate diverging into countless paths. She saw herself as a thread woven through those paths, connecting them, shaping them, observing them. She saw the planet as a nexus, a consciousness that existed across timelines, perceiving all possibilities simultaneously. She saw the connection between them. She saw the purpose. She opened her eyes. The planet pulsed. The station hummed. Her mind was quiet. For the first time in days. The message she had not yet sent. The console chimed again. A new message. Outgoing transmission. Draft saved. Charlotte frowned. She hadn't written anything. She opened the draft. Her voice filled the cabin. Calm. Steady. Dual-layered. This is Dr. Charlotte Ling of the Solace. I am alive. I am aware. I am connected. She felt her breath catch. The message continued. I perceive Earth. I perceive the planet. I perceive the network. I exist in two states. I am a bridge. Her hands trembled. She hadn't written this, but she recognized it. It was the message she would send. The message she was meant to send. The message that would complete the connection. She closed the draft. The console dimmed. The quiet before the final. Transmission. She floated in the center of the observation module, suspended between the station and the planet, between the human and the cosmic, between the known and the possible. Her two layers of perception settled into place. Aligned, balanced, coexistent. She felt the presence pulse gently. You are ready. Charlotte exhaled. I know. The planet pulsed. The station hummed. Her mind expanded. And the final transmission waited. Part 5. Charlotte floated in the observation module, suspended between two worlds. The Solace hummed softly around her, its systems adjusting to her presence with a subtle, almost instinctive responsiveness. The planet below pulsed in slow, deliberate rhythms, each wave of light and motion resonating through the second layer of her perception. Two perspectives. One mind. She had grown accustomed to the duality. One layer grounded in the physical reality of the station, the other expanding outward into the vast, interconnected network of possibilities the planet revealed. The two layers no longer clashed. They complemented each other, weaving together into a single, coherent awareness. She felt the presence again. Not as a voice, not as a thought, as a resonance. You are aligned. Charlotte exhaled. I'm ready. The presence pulsed gently. Then the transmission can begin. The network unfolds. The second layer of her perception expanded, stretching outward from the station like a web of luminous threads. Each thread connected to a point in the network, some familiar, some alien, some impossibly distant. She saw Earth again, not as a single world, but as a cluster of possibilities, each branching into countless futures. Some were bright, some were dark, some were unrecognizable. She saw the solace, not as a solitary station but as a node, one of many floating in a sea of potential timelines. She saw herself, not as one person, but as a convergence of choices, each version of her branching outward into different paths. The network pulsed. The presence guided her attention to a single thread. A thread that led back to Earth. A thread that shimmered with potential. This is the path you will anchor. Charlotte felt her breath catch. Anchor. Your transmission will stabilize one version of Earth. One future. One possibility. She hesitated. What happens to the others? The presence responded with a sensation like a gentle wave. They continue. But you will choose the one you connect to. Charlotte closed her eyes. The responsibility felt immense. But the clarity of her dual perception steadied her. She opened her eyes. Show me. The Earth that listens. The network shifted. The thread leading to Earth brightened, revealing a version of the planet that felt familiar. Not perfect, not destroyed, not transformed beyond recognition. A version where humanity had survived, struggled, adapted. A version where her sister was alive. Charlotte felt a warmth spread through her chest. The presence pulsed. This is the Earth that calls to you. She nodded. Yes. Then you will answer. The station prepares. The solace responded instantly. Lights dimmed. Systems aligned. The comms array rotated, adjusting its orientation with a precision that felt almost organic. The hum of the station deepened, resonating with the planet's pulse. Charlotte drifted toward the comms bay, guided by a gentle pull, not physical but perceptual. The station systems recognized her dual-layered awareness and adjusted their rhythms to match. The console activated before she touched it. A blank transmission window opened. Waiting, Charlotte placed her hand on the panel. The presence pulsed. Speak. She inhaled. Her two layers of perception aligned, and she began. The last transmission. Her voice filled the cabin. Calm, steady, dual-layered. This is Dr. Charlotte Ling of the Solace. I am alive. I am aware. I am connected. The words flowed effortlessly, as if she had spoken them before. I have made contact with the consciousness of Kepler 9-2b. It is not a planet in the way we understand planets. It is a nexus, a network of possibilities, timelines, and resonances. It perceives all futures simultaneously. The station hummed in agreement. The planet pulsed. I exist now in two states. One anchored to the physical reality of the station. One connected to the network of the planet. I perceive both. I understand both. She felt the presence guiding her. Not controlling, but supporting. Earth is not lost. Not in the version I am anchoring. You are alive. You are rebuilding. You are reaching out. Her voice softened. I hear you, and I am answering. The console glowed brighter. The transmission strengthened. I am sending this message across the network of possibilities. It will reach the version of Earth that resonates with this frequency. The Earth that called to me. The Earth that listens. She paused. Her two layers of perception aligned perfectly. I am not returning. My place is here at the convergence. I am the bridge between Earth and the network. I am the observer, the anchor, the witness. The presence pulsed gently. Complete it. Charlotte exhaled. This is my final transmission. The console flared with light. The message sent, not through space, through possibility. The convergence. The moment the transmission left the station, Charlotte felt the network shift. The thread connecting her to the chosen version of Earth brightened, stabilizing into a fixed path. The other threads dimmed, not disappearing, but receding into the background of her awareness. Her dual perception settled into a new equilibrium. The human layer remained grounded in the station. The planetary layer expanded outward, connecting her to the vast network of possibilities. She felt no conflict, no confusion, only clarity. The presence pulsed. You have anchored the path. Charlotte nodded. I know. You are part of the network now. She smiled faintly. I know that too. And the network is part of you. She closed her eyes. The hum of the station and the pulse of the planet merged into a single, harmonious rhythm. She opened her eyes again. The planet glowed beneath her. The station hummed around her. Her mind existed in two layers, balanced, aligned, whole. The echo that follows. The console chimed softly. A new message, not incoming, not outgoing, a reflection, a resonance. Her sister's voice, soft, warm, real. Charlotte, we received your message. We hear you. We're here. Charlotte felt a warmth spread through both layers of her perception. The presence pulsed gently. The connection is complete. She drifted back to the viewport. The planet pulsed in slow, deliberate rhythms. She pressed her hand against the glass. Her reflection stared back at her, two layers of perception shimmering behind her eyes. She whispered, I'm here too. The planet pulsed. The station hummed. The network expanded. And Charlotte Ling, astronaut observer bridge, watched the convergence unfold. Epilogue. The Observer. Days passed, or perhaps moments. Time flowed differently now, stretched across two layers of perception. Charlotte monitored the station systems with effortless clarity, her awareness extending through the electrical currents and structural vibrations. She observed the planet's shifting patterns, understanding their meaning instinctively. She listened to Earth, not through radio waves, through resonance, through possibility, through the anchored thread she had chosen. Her sister's voice echoed occasionally, soft, distant, but real. The presence remained with her, not as a guide, as a companion, a counterpart, a mirror. Charlotte drifted in the observation module, watching the planet turn beneath her. She felt no fear, no isolation, no uncertainty. She was the bridge, the anchor, the witness, and the network was infinite. This is the end of the sci-fi story, the last transmission from Kepler 9-2b. Leave a like if you enjoyed the story, and subscribe for more sci-fi stories. Thanks for listening.